Good day, friends. Welcome back to Frontier Patriot for another Chew Chat. I'm here with my lovely wife, Justine Rayfield. And before we go any farther, because I've been forgetting recently, if you want to see Justine make what we have under this and all the other things that we eat here on the show, please go over to our main channel. That's Early American. Over there, we cook it.
And here we eat it.
And here we eat it. What are we having today?
They ain't gonna see what I made under this.
Oh, can I see? Ooh, look at that.
Okay, so we made ketchup today. Tomato ketchup. Tomato catsup, if you will.
C-A-T-S-U-P. Catsup.
Any excuse to have the word cat involved in anything, I'm interested. This is from 1830, from a book called The Cook's Dictionary and Housekeeper's Directory. Actually published in London, but it was a best-selling book in the United States in the early 1800s. It was certainly enjoyed around here. So when I saw this ketchup recipe, it really perked my interest. Because if you've heard anything about the 1800s or the 1700s and tomatoes, you might have heard that they were scared of tomatoes. They had like a phobia.
They were the nightshade family. That's such a scary name, but the real issue was the acidity would cause the lead in the poorly made pewter plates at the time to leach out and give you lead poisoning. Now there are actually there's multiple things that we eat today, and even back then that were part of the nightshade family, like eggplant, just about every kind of pepper there is, potatoes, and ground cherries, which we made a video of that last summer on the channel.
Ground cherry tart last year, that was pretty good.
So there's nothing to be scared, and tobacco. So people were smoking tobacco like crazy back then. So
it was new and it was bright red, and that's why they were scared of it.
If it's red, you're dead.
If it's red, you're dead. But let's get into what's under this. We weren't just gonna sit here and eat ketchup.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna eat ketchup.
I haven't gone that mentally insane yet. Like, just sit here and just spoonful really spicy ketchup.
It's spicy,
The spiciest ketchup I've ever had. So we made something totally not period correct, but man, I wanted it.
Tater tots!
Tater tots! We got tater tots. Totally not period correct, but...
Now, I will say, there are curly fries that are period correct that we did cook previously on the show, and I'm going to put that as the automatic video to play when this is going off. So be sure to check that out. That was fun, the curly fries.
That was fun to make.
There were French fries back then, too.
They just didn't have the name French fries yet, but they did not have tater tots.
No, they didn't have tater tots.
And I feel so sorry for these people, because apparently tater tots were not invented until the 1950s, probably about 1953. And thank you, world.
Yeah.
They were invented in the United States. In Oregon in the 1950s. Now you all say, oh, America don't have a food culture. You kidding me? This is the greatest food gift that we have ever given to the world, possibly the galaxy.
These are great.
Tater tots. So, yes, we do have a food culture. You're looking right at it.
Tater tots.
Tater tots. Potatoes are native to the Americas, and tomatoes are native to the Americas.
Yes, they are.
They're all from the same family.
Actually, the first reference to tomatoes, the first tomatoes didn't go back to Europe until 1521. And they're not even referenced in Italy until 1544. So you're welcome, Italy, for all your tomato sauces.
Oh. And that's just when it was first referenced. It didn't really start to become popular until... the 1800s. Yeah. Yeah, it took a long time.
There were a few receipts from the 1600s that I found in Spanish, so it's hard to read. Thank you to Google Translate. I was able to translate, and I'd like to read one for you really quickly if that's okay. Is that okay?
That is perfectly fine.
All right, so this is from 1692.
A very early tomato recipe.
You have to wipe the tomatoes with a cloth if they have dirt on them, but do not wet them. Squeeze them with your hands and put them in a large pot and let them simmer for a whole day. That's a long time. But first, season them and watch them that you don't let them spoil. The next day, strain them through a fine sieve after adding a little bit of cinnamon and cloves. Boil them until they are very thick like a paste. It should be very thick and you should not be able to see any more liquid, for this is the most important point. This is why it is good not to press it through the pots, because it sometimes gives out a little more liquid. The next day, then, you have to boil them again for a little, and don't seal them until you are sure that all the liquid has gone. Then put them in small jars and pour on top a layer of oil or melted fat and cover them with paper. It is better to use several little jars than one large jar because once open, they can go moldy. A small coffee spoonful will be mixed with liquid is enough for a ragu. Now, you might be thinking a small coffee spoonful. I don't know if that meant like a teaspoon or if something got lost in the translation. I just used
It's like this much.
Okay, yeah. But I used Google Translate, so I'm hoping some of the words are mostly correct, but I can't read Spanish, so.
If I could have this superpower, I wish that I was able to read every single language in the world, past and present.
Wow.
That'd be pretty neat. Now, you said something interesting in the receipt towards the end. It said it had to be added to soups.
Yeah,
Now that's
a ragu.
yes, now that is the thing about early catsup recipes. They were not meant for dipping like they are today. They were treated almost like Worcestershire sauce.
An additive.
An
or
additive.
something.
It was a tomato sauce that was very, very concentrated, very salty, very spiced up, that you would mix into a much larger recipe. Like soy sauce. You know, you don't just sit there and dip your food in a soy sauce. I mean, I guess you can if it's a dumpling or something. But a lot of times people cook with soy sauce. They add it to noodles or what have you, to soups and stews and that sort of thing. So it was originally, catsup was meant to be added to other dishes.
Okay.
And that's part of why some of the ingredients in historic catsup are a little unusual. Like, you said cinnamon?
Yeah, cinnamon.
Cloves?
Cloves.
Modern day ketchup, which, by the way, we went to the store and we got some modern day ketchup
Yes.
because we wanted to do a taste test comparison. Now, read the ingredient list of this modern Heinz ketchup. It's shameful.
Tomato. Concentrate from red ripe tomatoes, distilled vinegar, high fructose corn syrup, and corn syrup, salt, spice, onion powder, and natural flavoring. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but why is there sugar in it? We didn't add any sugar to this.
No. Well, why is there high fructose corn syrup in it?
And then regular corn syrup. What, is one not good enough for, what's the difference?
I don't know. Okay, this one has oil in it. It said to put a little bit of oil. It said to use a sweet oil, which would have meant either olive oil or almond oil. And yes, they did have access to both in the United States at this time. And they were often used not only for edible recipes, but they were used for toiletry purposes. So you would have gone down to the pharmacy and gotten some almond oil or olive oil for your hair, for your skin, or for eating.
Interesting.
So we are about to try some modern ketchup and some 200-year-old recipe for ketchup and see how they differ. I've already tried the 1830 catsup, and oh my gosh, that's all I can say.
I haven't tried it yet.
Wow.
And you like hot things. You grew up in parts of Asia, so you're acclimated.
Oh yeah, I spent 2 years in Seoul, South Korea. I was born in Tokyo, Japan. My mom is Middle Eastern. I love spicy food.
She's spicy.
I'm spicy. But all I can say is wow.
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 Now, we have made ketchup on the show here before.
Very bland, boring, just regular old ketchup. They had that too.
It seemed like a mozzarella consistency to me. Or not mozzarella, I'm sorry.
Marinara.
Marinara sauce. I got cheese sticks on the mind.
Okay, Ron, let's pour up some modern Heinz brand ketchup.
All right.
Does it say how long that company's been around on there?
It says since 1869, so it's from the future.
For whatever reason, there is a lot of sauces developed in the 1860s in the United States.
People needed something to do after the Civil War.
There's A1 steak sauce, there's Tabasco sauce,
Dr.
and
Pepper.
Heinz.
That's not a sauce, it's a soda. But...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is the modern one. Are you
Okay.
going to serve up the... You want to pray first, or what are we going to do here?
Sure. I can pour this on this plate.
Let me give it a smell.
Give it a sniff. Give it the sniff test.
Oh, it smells hot.
This is Ron's favorite bottle.
My nostrils are burning. Oh, wow, look at that. That's beautiful looking. It looks
like
pretty
ketchup?
identical. It's a little more orange.
It is a little more orange.
The consistency is the same. Do the run test. Yeah.
We made this
Wow.
from super fresh homegrown tomatoes that we picked this morning.
Great job.
Yep, that's the run test. It's not
It looks
liquidy.
great. It looks great.
Yes, it looks like
This does the same thing.
Regular-
It's moving the same speed as that.
regular ketchup. It really does not need corn syrup. It's ridiculous.
Okay, lead us in prayer, please. because I'm getting hungry.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the company that we have with us today, watching us. Thank you for all of our friends, all of our family, our loved ones. And thank you for putting Ron in my life. Please keep him safe always. And thank you for this food. Let it nourish our bodies. Amen.
Amen.
This will not nourish our bodies. This will probably put us on the toilet. I ain't going to give you any more hints about how spicy this is.
Usually spicy things are good for you.
Hey, wait. Oh.
I didn't bite it yet.
Well, you put it in your mouth. I was going to do a ching. Tater tots. That's all I can say.
Classic.
Yeah,
okay.
It's sweet.
Now, let's see here. I'm going to get full coverage here.
Yeah, full coverage.
Wow. Hey, give me that water.
Oh no! Okay, I guess we're drinking each other's water.
That is hot.
That is really, really spicy.
That's like sriracha.
It tastes like sriracha.
Maybe even more hotter. It's got a lasting burn.
How would you describe your spice tolerance?
Oh, I don't know how to describe that because that's a hard thing to describe without somebody trying the same thing right then and there.
1 out of 5.
For that?
No, 1 out of 5. How would you rate your spice tolerance?
Oh, I think I can take a 3.
Okay.
Any more than that, it's...
You can do it, but it's just not pleasurable.
No, it would be painful.
Yeah.
Both then and later.
I would say I'm a 4.
A 4? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that's just as hot, maybe a hint more than the big jar of sriracha with the green cap on it.
This
whatever
tastes
brand that
like
is.
sriracha. And it looks like sriracha.
Sriracha.
Sriracha. And I do like sriracha.
It is tasty. It's got a good flavor, but the burn, it hangs on.
It's actually incredible.
Here, I'll just do that much this time.
Okay. It is amazing. I mean, I love this.
That's much better.
Yeah,
Just a little
don't go
bit.
crazy. Unless
Just
you
a little
really, really love spicy food.
That is really good.
This is amazing.
If you added that to chili or whatever
Oh.
you're making, it'd really give it a zing. That's for sure. That's got lemon juice in it. I think what's making it so hot
There's
is
white pepper.
the white pepper. White pepper
Uh-huh.
is potent stuff. If you've never had white pepper, it's potent.
You're sweating. I can see on your
I know.
forehead.
Whenever I eat, when I eat spicy food, my head starts sweating. I don't know why.
I'm starting to get a little internally warm too. There's definitely a tingle.
And it's not even that hot out here.
It's not. It's probably in the 80s, which for us ain't that bad considering what we're used to. It's the middle of July right now.
I like
Oh,
this.
he double did it with 2 tater tots.
That would be great, even with like some chicken strips or hot wings tossed in it.
Oh, this is really good. I feel like you could sell this
You probably could.
as like an American or a British, because the receipt is from London. I'll give you
is.
guys credit. Alternative to sriracha. Or if you want to make homemade sriracha at home.
I actually don't even want to eat this one anymore.
No.
It's just dull. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, it's safe. It doesn't burn the crap out of your mouth.
If you don't like spicy food.
But just a
Stay
dab
away.
of that, it's perfect. I can handle that. But the first one, that was way too intense.
It's a little intense at first.
Just,
but-
just enough.
It's the same with all spicy food, really. I mean, really spicy food.
Let me help you out there. Just,
Oh, you're dividing our tater tots?
put the plate in the middle.
Oh. I was the kind of girl in school, I would always trade everything on my cafeteria plate for tater tots.
Now don't worry, we're not leaching the lead out in these plates. These plates have been made by the Guild. If you want to learn more about the Pewter Guild, you can go to ASL Pewter. They are in St. Genevieve. You can visit them in person, or you can email them with all your pewter questions. They have beautiful pieces for sale, and he will be more than happy to give you the history on pewter and the guilds that existed in Europe. All nice items made by the Pewter Guild, or Peter Smith that were part of the guild,
A member
have
of the
no
guild.
lead, and they'll be stamped on the bottom. Now, pieces that are not stamped, they're probably not made, they're not certified, if you will, so they might be made with a lower quality that will have lead in it.
Yeah.
These are lead free. We've had all of our stuff checked out by them, or we've purchased some of our stuff from them, and nothing we have has lead in it. So don't worry, we're not going to die.
Not all historic pewter has lead. And actually a lot of
Especially
modern stuff has lead in it.
especially utensil eating type stuff. I can't speak for candlestick holders, but for stuff you eat off of.
Now,
they-
some of it did have lead.
Right,
Some historic pewter definitely did have lead.
and that's like I said, the cheaply made stuff.
The cheaply made stuff had lead. So turn it around. If you have a pewter piece, a historic pewter piece, if it's modern, don't bother because lead has been pewter free for decades now by law. But if you have a historic piece, turn it around, and if you see a guild mark on it, and it's different depending on the country, but this is an example of a guild mark, and that meant that it was made by a certified guild member who, if he was caught adding lead into his pewter when he was making it by law, he actually would have been imprisoned.
Wow.
It was regulated because pewter was a very cheap and lead was a very cheap and very inferior metal. So some people would try to sneak it into their pewter, some not so obviously, and then some very obviously. But it makes the pewter super bendable and dark in color.
Oh yeah.
It's an inferior product.
And it makes it heavier too.
Yeah. I love this.
It's so good. My mouth is getting pretty hot right now.
We're actually going to talk about some historical myths in a bit.
Yes. Yes, we are.
I love that topic.
What, with the pewter?
Busting historical myths.
Oh, busting historical myths.
Wasn't everyone back then 5'1"? Didn't people only live to be 25 in the 1800s? All these myths are just super unbelievable when you say it, but people keep repeating it over and over again.
The most ridiculous thing that we hear when we go to some of these house museums elsewhere from St. Genevieve is, oh yeah, these doors are so small because they were little people. Now, yeah, sure, somebody might have been short, but when you go to every house and there's like a little closet door or something, they tell you the same stereotypical story. Oh yeah, they were shorter back then.
Ron, since we started building our house, I now know why a lot of the cheaper houses of the day, or maybe not even cheaper,
middle class people.
Middle class houses of the day had low ceilings and small doors. You know how hard it is to stack up logs that high? It is very, very hard. I mean, once you get taller than your height, we're talking logs that weigh hundreds of pounds. The higher you build, the harder it is it's
to
very
go up,
hard.
and the more expensive for materials. So then you gotta have bigger windows, you gotta have bigger door made. Well, the door does not grow in the woods. You gotta select the tree, you gotta have it cut into boards, you gotta plane it. All that costs money, time, and labor.
So it technically does grow in the woods.
So if you're, I mean, it's not done, it's not finished like that. So
yeah, you have to turn it into a door.
That's why some people said, okay, we're going with 7-foot ceilings and a rustic door made out of 3 boards with a cross on it.
Because it's
versus
very hard.
Somebody with a 6-panel door and 10-foot walls.
They didn't have the kind of machinery that we do today where they could lift these 500-pound huge logs.
And the same applies today too. When we were building the walls of our house last summer, we had the option of going with 8-foot walls, 9-foot walls, 10-foot, or 12-foot, which is insane.
Money, money, money.
We went with 9-foot. Couldn't afford to go 10-foot, and we didn't want to go 8-foot because we had a little bit we could spend on it, and we're trying to go for a certain appearance, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
And so we went with 9-foot. That was a good happy medium. But if you don't have that luxury, you're going with the 8-foot, the cheaper option. You're going with the 2x4 instead of the 2x6.
The higher your ceilings are in a house, when you're building it yourself, which was often the case back then, family would have helped out, or your slaves, frankly, would have helped out building the house. The higher you go, the bigger you go, it's way more expensive, and the labor is excruciatingly hard. And
the risk factor goes up too. The higher
you
gotta
very
get on
dangerous.
The roof.
Yeah, you could, having a log this high over your head that weighs 400 pounds. I mean, it's very dangerous. So I can totally see why people without the means would just say, I'm good with 7-foot tall ceilings. Now look at the palaces over in Europe, like Versailles, for example, which was built a long time before our time period.
They were really tall people.
Yeah, were all those people 25 feet tall because their ceilings are huge? No, they were just filthy, stinking rich.
Now, you actually been to Versailles.
Yeah.
I've never been to such a place.
I did go once. It's because I lived in Germany for 8 years, and so I got to go to France because it's conveniently located by Germany. But let's get into these really cool books.
Oh, yeah. We've got some pretty cool literature here.
Yes.
Thank you to thriftbooks.com, which I love that site. You can find books that are really expensive, or they are expensive, brand new, when you get them used, you can get them like $5.
And after this, we'll go back to talking about the ketchup.
Yes.
We have some cool ketchup facts.
We have 2 books here. We've got pretty much from the beginning of colonial America to 1763, and then we've got 1763 to year 1800, and some of these spill over a little farther on their timelines. Okay, now back to the thing you said earlier about men being taller. That's the only chart I have in here is for men. I don't have one for women because this is for soldiers who served during the Revolutionary War that were either born in America or born in Europe.
And you know why that is? Why do we only have the height records for soldiers? It's because there was no government height records like there are today at hospitals. So the only people that we have surviving height records from are from soldiers.
Yes. So, if you were born in New York, these are averages, by the way. The average for a man born in New York, this is during the Revolutionary War. This table is from serving from 76 to 82 in the 1700s. New York is 69.1 inches. New Jersey, the same, 69.1 inches. The Carolinas, 69 inches flat. Now, here's some of the European ones they have here. If you were born in Scotland during that time frame, you were on average 67 inches, 0.7 inches tall. And the other Europe, it just has 66.3. So
what does that mean, though? Okay, so that is 5'9". That's 5'9". Which you might be thinking is on the short side for a grown man, 5'9". It's not. Anyway,
these were ages.
But go to Google and Google what is the average height for an American man today.
And I don't know if I said this was from age 24 to 35 is what they had listed on the chart.
Yeah.
Not everybody's 6 foot tall.
Okay, but
I feel awkward sometimes because everybody's shorter than me. So I think 5'9" is about normal for an adult.
It actually is. Okay, so the average height for an American adult male in the United States right now is 5'9".
5'9".
It's 5'9". What was the average height for an adult American male in the 18th century? 5'9"?
Yeah.
It hasn't changed. They were the exact same height. They were a little shorter over in Europe, and there's 2 reasons for that. Not crazy shorter, but a little shorter. There's better nutrition over in the colonies, and also, very strange to think about, but we actually have more sunlight over here than in England. It doesn't rain as much. There's more vitamin D. And when you're growing up, you do need a good amount of vitamin D in order to grow healthy bones. But the nutrition was said to be better. On average, we ate more calories over here. On average, we eat more calories now, if you know what I mean. But, so, it's just a myth that everyone was 5 foot tall in the 18th century. They were actually the exact same height. And you might be thinking, oh, American men, they're not 5'9". Okay, ladies, shh, don't tell Ron. I got something I gotta tell you. Men lie about their height all of the time.
I don't. I'm 6'2".
No, I know you're 6'2". We've measured you, and you've measured me. But men that are 5'9" will lie, and they'll say that they're 5'11", that they're 6 foot.
That's called little man syndrome.
It's a thing, and there's nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
There's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. But when you go to the doctor and they take your height, that is literally what your height is, and they keep records of that. So we know that the average American man is 5'9".
I have a cousin that is like 6'8". He's huge. Dustin.
Yeah.
He's like basketball player. It's insane.
I have a couple of cousins that are 6'4".
Now, are we gonna rate this?
Oh yeah, let's get back. You see, we've decimated these tater tots. So Ron, what would you rate, now that we've taken some myths off of the table, historical myths, what would you rate this 1830 tomato catsup?
I'm going to give it a 9.
That's good.
It's just a little too hot. I like to dip my stuff. I like the consistency, so I like my stuff to have a bunch of sauce on it. So just doing a little bit ain't satisfying me 100%, but yet the taste is excellent. And the consistency is great of it. But I like to be able to drown my stuff in it like this, but this is gonna be horrible.
Now, just for fun, what would you rate modern Heinz ketchup?
Compared to that?
No, just, I don't know, how would you rate it?
Wait a minute, my gums burn. Wow!
Do you not want this last one?
You can have it. For my own good. Man, That burns.
It's spicy.
Okay, I'm not a big fan of ketchup. I'll use it on some French fries, but I'm more of a mustard guy. Now, on a scale compared to these two out of 10, the historic one gets a 9. I would give this one like a 5 because it's just it's plain.
It's bland.
It's plain. It's just
Yeah.
some red goop.
Now that you try this, it's like you'll never look at ketchup the same.
Ketchup needs to be a little zesty. Don't need to be necessarily that hot, but like on some hot wings or something, that would be good. But for tater tots, I'm giving it a 9. But on chicken, I might give it a 10.
So for me, I would rate this a 10.
A 10?
This is honestly in my top 10 best things that we have ever made on Early American.
That's quite the statement.
If I had more tater tots here, man, I'd be eating it. They'd be gone. This is amazing. This tastes like sriracha sauce, but really fresh.
Fresh sriracha.
Like you just made sriracha this morning with fresh tomatoes you just picked from the garden. This is incredible. If I ever make a cookbook one day, which is a long-term goal, I will definitely put this in there because this is one of the best things we've ever made on the channel, in my opinion.
It tastes good. I like it.
It makes modern day ketchup look sad.
Next time we make chili, we need to add this to it for some kick.
I can handle the spiciness. I've only taken 1 sip of water. I can handle it. So I would make this again in my modern life and just use it for dipping. Or you could add it, mix it with rice, mix it with a soup.
Yeah. Mix
it with chicken.
I'm out of water. My mouth's on fire. I'm not gonna lie. It is on fire.
There's some left in here.
Thank you.
Usually, back in the 1800s and the 1700s, they would add catsup into other things. But the one thing I can think of that they would actually directly apply it to was fish.
Fish. I've actually seen references, particularly. I've seen one from 1747. I didn't write it down, but it says they would eat it with fish, salted cod. So
Yeah.
they would put it on it. And like I said, there were sauces in Spain in the late 1600s already. So we need to get hold of some of these books. My goal is, whenever we get the new summer kitchen built one day, is to actually use Google Translate. So there are some good things about the internet, and that's one of the many good things. Now we can finally get French receipt books, Spanish receipt books, because this was a French area and this was also under Spanish control for decades. So there is some influence here in the Missouri Territory, and we could cook them dishes. The problem is neither of us know how to read or speak it, but with the translate, we'll be able to read it. It's pretty amazing. We picked up a book that was in, I believe, like Old World German.
It was from the early 18th century.
And couldn't read anything, but it was like $30, and I was like, I'm buying it just because it's so old and it's so cheap. And we used the Google Translate picture, like take a picture of it.
Yeah, you take a picture
and
of it.
Boom, there it was.
It translated to.
I was like, this is awesome. So it's a very powerful tool. But let's get into some fun facts for this week's Weird History.
This week's weirdest history facts. Go! As soon as this is done, I'll make more tater tots.
Okay, history fact number 1. Ketchup was called catsup, which we explained at the very beginning of the show. That's C-A-T-U-S-P, catsup. I don't know why they called it catsup instead of ketchup.
Because it has cat in the name.
Wow. Anyways, my main fun fact of it here is there were 7 types of ketchup that were available by 1817 in English writing as far as cookbooks go. There might have been some in Spanish and French, but I can't read them right now. But in 1817, the Cook's Oracle book, which we have done receipts out of before, once again, receipt means recipe in the 18th and 19th century, all the way up to the early 20th century, they were using the word receipt. That's just a disclaimer. Here we go. Number 1, mushroom catsup. You guys know all about that.
You love that.
We've ate that on potatoes, on chicken, on beef, on pork, on everything. And it's delicious. It's made from mushrooms.
Yeah,
hence the name, mushroom catsup.
Was not just tomato ketchup. There were
and it's more of a, I'll say like a Worcestershire sauce, because it's pretty liquidy. Yeah. Now there's also oyster ketchup. I don't know if I'd try that one.
You wouldn't. You don't like seafood. And that, of course, was added to soups and stews. It wasn't just eaten directly.
Correct. The next one is also seafood inspired, cockle and mussel catsup. So it's made from stuff that's inside shells just like the oyster. You take it out and you do stuff with it and you get a sauce.
You had to research what a cockle was.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, but it looks like the most generic seashell that you pick up at the beach.
This is a cockle. I had no clue what the name of it was. I was wrong my whole life. I just called it little clams, but apparently it's not a clam, it's a cockle.
Next up, we have tomato catsup, which is what we made here and what we made last summer. Next, there is a white catsup.
What's that made out of?
I cannot tell you because I did not look that part up. I just seen the name in the receipt book and wrote it down. Do some research. Look it up. The Cook's Oracle from 1817.
How are you going to leave us on a cliffhanger like that? That's just cruel.
Next, cucumber catsup.
Oh my.
Now, I'm mildly interested in this. I like cucumbers. I like cucumber salad. I like cucumber melon, the candles and the soap that smell like that. So maybe I like the ketchup as well.
How do you cook down cucumbers to make a ketchup out of cucumbers?
Or maybe it's disgusting. I have no idea.
It sounds refreshing.
And then the last one I have is pudding catsup. Yes, I said pudding. This is a sweet sauce. It's for dessert. It's with melted butter, brandy, sherry, and some spices.
Cinnamon, nutmeg.
Yep.
I'm intrigued about
basically
that.
it's a pudding sauce.
Yeah, that sounds really, really good.
Maybe ketchup has another meaning. Maybe it means sauce that you put on things. Because it's pudding, you're obviously not putting it on something savory. You're putting it on pudding probably is what you're pouring on. It's a pudding sauce.
A cooked down sauce for flavoring dishes?
I guess so. Speaking of sauce, we should try mayonnaise one time.
Oh.
If we get one of them French books, I know they had mayonnaise back then.
Yeah, they did.
If we can translate it, and maybe we can whip up some mayonnaise. I love mayonnaise. Like real mayonnaise, not the Miracle Whip, fake stuff. I like the Duke's mayonnaise. That stuff's delicious.
With the raw eggs?
Yeah.
Now, back in the 1800s, they went a little insane with the mayonnaise. It isn't like today where we would just take a little teaspoon, spread it on some bread. They would get a whole baked roasted salmon and smear the mayonnaise half an inch thick all over
wow.
the entire salmon, and then put some fruit or spices or whatever for the eyes. So they were absolutely insane about mayonnaise. I don't know how else to say it.
I might actually eat a bite of that. If it has mayonnaise, it'd be like eating tuna fish salad or something.
It was like a mayonnaise coffin.
Oh man.
They would encase everything in it.
That is quite interesting.
I don't know if I want to eat. Well, okay, I'll make it for you.
Maybe not. Just make the mayonnaise.
Okay, I'll just make the mayonnaise.
Real quick before we go, guys, I have a story to share with you. We were out working on the house the other day. I know you guys have all been wanting a house update. Our latest update is we're still halfway done with the septic because we hit hard granite rock about 3 weeks ago. We're waiting on a new gentleman to come out that has a rock buster on the end of his piece of equipment or excavator. Hopefully he gets out there by August, so that's all I can tell you about that. The other thing I can give you an update on is all the wiring is done inside the house, and now we have to get the roof on the barn so we can put the solar panels on there and then run the power to the house. And we're having issues with our double front doors leaking, so we changed it to just a single door, and it looks just as nice. I hope you guys are happy with it. We're happy with it. I was a little nervous, but we were able to make it work, and it looks like it was meant to be that way, and I'm very satisfied with it. But while we were out there doing that, I got stung twice by a red wasp on the ankle. My ankle swelled up as big as an elephant hoof, and I couldn't walk for 3 days. It was insane.
Ron,
it hurt so bad.
I don't know if I can say you're allergic, but you're almost allergic. It's not like EpiPen allergic where his throat swells.
Oh yeah, nothing up here.
But whenever you get stung by a wasp,
the surrounding area gets
immobile for 3 to 4 days.
I could not. So let's pretend this is my leg and this is my foot. I could not do this at all. I could maybe go like this far, and
it was so swollen. It was unbelievable.
And by the second day, it had went down to my toes, and they looked like little Vienna sausages, which were those fat little sausages in a can that we all loved when we were kids, but we hate as adults. Yeah.
Your feet were so swollen you could not touch your toes to the ground.
No, when I was flat-footed, my toes were like this, and they were little puffy sausages.
Yeah.
It hurt.
So we just sat here and.
I sat with my feet up for 3
and,
days, and we just did research and watched movies.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible. Them red wasps, they're mean, man.
They're very mean.
And like I said, he got me twice, and it didn't get infected or anything. I just have a bad reaction to them. I'm allergic to poison ivy and oak and sumac, and obviously stings like this. Last year, you guys remember the crazy story that happened whenever we were driving home. One flew in the window and stung me in the butt like
Yes.
twice, and my butt swelled up like with like a softball where it got me.
Kim Kardashian butt.
And I couldn't sit down on it. It was horrible. But that's
Yeah.
how bad my foot was, except for I couldn't move. I couldn't go anywhere. It was horrible. I don't wish that on anybody.
You said, and I did put out some wasp traps since then, the glass
Yes.
ones that hang from trees, and I put some pear jam in them mixed with water because it's sweet, and I hope that it works. I haven't checked it. We haven't been out there in a day, so. But you said that you're allergic to poison ivy. Guess what?
What?
I have no reaction to poison ivy at all.
Well,
I'm immune
good for
to
you.
it. Yeah,
Keep
let me just
bragging.
rub it in your face, like
Let's
brag a little. No, I mean just brag about it a little bit. Now they do say that everyone is technically allergic.
Well, if
To
you have
poison
an
ivy.
open wound and I rub it in there,
Exactly.
you probably get it.
It's just a matter of how sensitive are you. But they do say that people that aren't allergic to poison ivy may eventually become allergic to it as they get older because our immune systems get weaker, to be
That's right.
honest. Which is weird because I have the most sensitive skin ever, so I don't know how this is possible.
Hey, look at me. I was able to drink milk and ride roller coasters that went upside down till I was about 23, then something changed. I have to close my eyes and talk myself out of throwing up now on a roller coaster, and I can't drink milk without farting constantly. But
The
anyways,
world needs to know that.
I think that's all we got for this week. We really appreciate you guys joining us. We're having fun. We love this new format, if you will, being outside. It's not even hot out here. I'm not sweating. We've got a lot of rain this week, and it's moved in a cold front.
Yesterday, this was the driveway leading up to the cabin.
Yep, pretty bad. Well, anyways, guys, Saints, we love you. We'll see you next week.